Ash.
My name's Ashley. I chose this mural by Sylvia Lopez Chavez. She is a Dominican American artist. She's a local here in Boston, actually. And yeah, I chose this mural because, not because it was like really pretty, because like it is, but because like it's like very like it's very meaningful for me. There's a lot of color that contrast, like with the yellow and orange go against like in the color wheel with the blue and the darker blue. Sylvia made this like to really pop out for everyone because she really like wants people to like, she really wants to gain the attention of the people. She wants people to understand her mural very like she wants her mural to be very understandable to everyone. It's also very accessible because it's free and many people go there because it's right near where the boats are. So they see the mural and they quickly understand because it's very understandable with the fish and the water and stuff. But I feel like in person it's better than in picture because in person you can really see her strokes and you can see a lot of texture on this, and you can also see her lines. All the lines are all pointing towards the Mother Nature in the middle of the picture. I believe this should be in our collection because it does raise awareness, but for me personally, I think water pollution and our ocean are very important because my family actually really likes being on water and they like to go fishing. I do like to join them sometimes, but they love the water and they love to, if they see something like in the ocean, they'll pick it up. It doesn't matter what, and they do complain about it. I see their frustration. So for me, this whole thing is very important to me, and I feel like it's a really good mural to bring more awareness to.
You speak as if you're an artist yourself.
Oh, thank you.
Do you make art?
No, I don't.
You do when you're in my class.
So if you were able to talk to this artist, what would you want to ask her?
That's a really good question. I'd ask her if I don't know, maybe does many environment issues are really important to her? Is it really important for her to paint about it, to make sure people know it, or does she just want to do it just to do it, just because it's trending? I think I'd ask her, does she really care about
Great
that?
question.
So you got off the bus and you saw this for the first time. What was your initial reaction? What did you see first in it?
So when I actually was on the bus, I do have a picture of it. I was on the bus and there was another one and this one, and I took pictures of it really quickly before we even talked about it, before we even said anything about it. This was I already took a picture of it, and what I thought was, it's it's really big in person. It's very bright, and it really gained my attention, and I just really liked the message, and I just really liked how bright it was, how colorful it was, and how much detail there was in her kelp or in her fish. You can see she put a lot of passion and a lot of stuff into her designs.
You remember what the weather was like when we went?
Rainy.
Yeah.
It was cloudy, rainy.
All of our field trips.
Yeah.
Maybe cold or snowing.
It was cold.
We didn't care, did we?
But that thing was a huge pop of color because it's just
Yeah, that's amazing that it could be striking even on a gray day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. More
Without
so.
the sun, this was for me, this was the sun because this was really bright.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley.
name is Deidre. I'm a sophomore at Waltham High. Today I'm going to be talking about the Paracas textiles created by the Paracas people around the years 900 BC to 400 AD. The Paracas people lived on a peninsula in a dry coastal area in modern day like southwest Peru. And they created these textiles during as a way to absorb moisture for mummies. Okay, so they had underground necropolis where they had tens to hundreds of mummies, and they used these beautiful textiles full of supernatural creatures, serpents, and the symbols they used to convey information. But not everybody got to use these textiles. It was mostly people who had power or a high social status during their lives, and the other people would just were wrapped around in normal cloths. But yeah, it was a symbol of power since not everybody got to use them. And what I've noticed is that they're very bold. The supernatural creatures really capture your attention, and mostly warmer colors, bright colors, bright red. And they were also used during people's normal lives. They used it as hats or garments. But again, not everybody got to use them. And the ground cloth, it was made out of cotton that was local to them. But the embroidery, you could see the black and the white, that was created using camelid fur that they got through long distance trade. And so we can infer that they already had a trade system going on around that time. And I believe these should be in the collection because they're pre-colonial pieces, and we don't see as much art from that time since most of it was or a lot of it was destroyed after colonization. And I think it's just really important to learn, and they're also just really beautiful, and you don't see people wearing these type of textiles that much anymore. And a personal connection that I feel is because I like to sew. I just like to sew, so that's what drew me into these. When I first saw them in the video that we watched in my Latin American art class, I was this is the one I want to do, because I have a personal connection towards it. And I would just love to see these pieces in person because I love to sew. So, yeah, thank you.
Great. It's so wonderful to hear your personal connection to something that you've been researching. It piques your curiosity when you're personally interested in the process to look and think about where the threads came from or the dye that they used, that kind of thing. It's fun to do that research. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I really like how you made that personal connection to your own sewing. And I think one thing to think about and museums are really thinking about is that sort of historic empathy that, these were, this particular one, I don't know exactly if it came out of a funerary situation, but really thinking about, that this may have been used to care for somebody who had passed, but who was, was loved and a person, and, thinking about that piece of it too. So, thinking about the textiles and your sewing, but also, the care that was taken for somebody that we might not know what their name is now, but, that they were a person who was part of a family and loved by people and had friends, and so kind of thinking about that through a too. I think is something that's important to think about.
Yeah, the way that you talk about so many of those issues is really exciting because you make something that's very old feel very modern. So your discussion of power imbalances, that these were not for all classes of people. There was a class differentiation is really important. Global trade, also super important because we tend to think of indigenous societies as sort of existing in these timeless places where they didn't already have kind of global economies, which becomes really clear in yours. Can you talk a little bit actually about what we're seeing now? So this is two different textiles, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the one on the top, what are we looking at? What are those figures?
In the article that I read, there wasn't much information, but what they mentioned was that they believe that it was more supernatural, something that they might have believed in. like we can see like there's like, oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so there's like this like creature with like a tail right here, and it has like a face as well, and I believe that's more like a belief that they had. And the bottom one, I can't really see this, but these reach over 4 feet, so they were like huge. But they also had like symbols like to organize like what they wanted to say, like.
Yeah, that's great. We have a big collection of these at the Museum of Fine Arts. I think one of the best collections in the world, and something that is always shocking to me is how modern they look. That it's like the graphic design, if you will, looks like something that could be made yesterday or tomorrow, as I like to say. Like it looks like it could be like from the future. So you did such a great job talking about these. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.